Welcome back, YouTube. I was recommended a video from a channel I haven't seen before, and it's about Army Rangers smoking some Crips in 1989. I have no idea what's going to happen in this video, but Twitch chat just recommended to me just now. All I know is something happens on September 23rd. So, let's get into it.
23rd, 1989. An Army Ranger who had just purchased a home on one of Tacoma, Washington's most gang-infested streets quickly became a witness to various illegal activity.
Okay, first question is, why did he buy a home there? Why did he buy a home there?
Happening out front of his home. He wasn't shy of confronting it or notifying the authorities, and soon after, he became the target of one of the most notorious street gangs Washington State has ever seen.
So, why are they called the Crips? I'm going to show my ignorance watching this video. Because, why are they called the Crips? Because when I see this, I see a guy in a wheelchair. I see this guy. Right over here. Are they called the Crips because, I don't know, one of them had a disability? I honest to God have no idea why they are called that. So, oh, he was there because he liked to live dangerously. Oh, of course. Of course.
Washington State has ever seen. And after
is Crips short for cripples?
Many times, his home was ambushed by the Hilltop Crips gang, but not before he invited 15 of his Ranger buddies over for a barbecue.
They're just having a barbecue. They're just having a barbecue. The name evolved into Crips when gang members began to carry around canes to display their pimp status. People in the neighborhood began to call them cripples or Crips for short. So it is short for cripples. So I was right about that. I didn't know why it was cripples though. Okay.
300 rounds, and 10 minutes later, the Crips were fighting for their lives.
What the fuck? I like how it's called, it's literally Ash Street. Like they're gonna scorch the earth.
In 1989, the neighborhood of Ash Street in Tacoma, Washington was an open-air drug market. There were several hotspots, and almost every house on the block was an active and thriving trap house. These gang infestations in the 1980s, born from the crack epidemic, flooded the streets and created an economic downturn that defined the decade. You might remember President Ronald Reagan declaring the war on drugs, or his first lady who was just like, just say no, oh my god.
Just say no. Oh my god, just say no, guys. Don't give in to peer pressure. Dude, if you're addicted to drugs, just stop. Like, if you tell the drugs to not be addicting, they legally can't be addictive. It's just that easy. Just don't do it anymore.
Tacoma was Washington State's ground zero of gang activity, and by the summer of 1989, it had grown blatant, middle-of-the-day type shit, like selling crack to the ice cream man type shit. And this was all fueled by an influx of gang members moving in from California. Tacoma police had experienced nothing like it before.
Oh, you see this mountain, chat? You see that mountain up there? All of this, it's not snow. All of that is just crack cocaine. That's how blatant it was. All of that, the entire mountain is covered in cocaine. That's how blatant it was. You thought it was as blatant as selling it to the ice cream? No, they just stored it on a mountain.
And were really struggling to get it under control, oftentimes not even knowing how to respond to it. Ash Street neighbors consistently called police and called 911 repeatedly and got nowhere. The typical response from police at the time was very mild. Community-oriented policing was a new thing, such as taking bullshit calls and pretending like it's not bullshit.
Yes, ma'am. I know you can't sleep when the dogs are barking.
But community policing was still viewed with suspicion by veteran cops who came up in the 60s and preferred the old ways, like smacking people in the head with their portable radios. At the time,
Jesus, that's huge.
Chief Ray Fatelin pushed these new community policing programs so far that the Hilltop Crip gang rose to power.
When the OGs from Wood claimed HTC, when we mounted up in the streets 200 deep, when the park rangers had a shootout with cats from Ashland, when the Ashleys connected with them Hilltop niggas, had a shootout and chased.
I have no idea what he's saying.
Sergeant William Folk of the 2nd Ranger Battalion 75th Ranger Regiment purchased his home on Ash Street in hopes that the neighborhood would soon turn around. To protect that investment, he was determined to help push the drugs and gangs out by any means necessary. Which may seem crazy to most people, but Staff Sergeant Folk was not most people. He was an elite operator who at a moment's notice could hit hard and smash fucking everything. You know, Ranger shit. But violence was the last thing the Staff Sergeant wanted, and he remained optimistic. In the summer of 1989, Folk returned from a December deployment in Panama to find the neighborhood worse than when he left.
Wait. So he bought the home, and he bought the home, and he was just hoping things would get better when he got back. What? That's not. Look, I know a little thing or two about investments. That's a risky investment if I've ever heard it. It seems to have worked out in the end for him in some regard, but don't know if that's how that works usually. I looked it up. Tupac wasn't a Crip. He actually hung out with some Crips and even their rivals, but never joined them. Good for Tupac. What an upstanding citizen that guy was. 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, and to the 4. Snoop Dogg, Doggy Dog. Oh, you're putting lyrics in the chat.
Along with other neighbors who were honest, hardworking people, he formed a neighborhood group that pressed police, demanding action. The neighbors started making signs, protesting, and taking pictures of the drug dealers. Even as the tension on Ash Street rose, Chief Fatelin made a decision he would later regret. Hamstrung by budget constraints and desperately short on the patrol side, he shifted 4 of 6 officers away from the Hilltop Crime Management Team to launch a community policing pilot project. The neighbors on Ash Street reacted with dismay. Under fire from citizens and the city council, a local Tribune covered the controversy, noting efforts by Ash Street neighbors to monitor the drug activity themselves.
A group of 12 neighbors who lived in the area of South 23rd and Ash Street said that they are on the verge of vigilante action because the police have failed to curtail drug dealing around their homes. The News Tribunal. Hey, when the police won't do it, you gotta sometimes put it in your own hands. Sometimes, you know, you gotta. Hey, the only person who can ever defend you at 100% of the time is yourself. Cops are not always there. Cops won't always be there. You got to know how to defend yourself, because the only person who is always present when you're in danger is yourself. So you got to be prepared, you got to be ready, and you got to be able to defend yourself if at all possible. Makes sense?
After the News Tribune piece, drug traffic on Ash Street slowed, but only so much. Staff Sergeant Folk was used to seeing more than 100 cars pass through his block on any given day, and after the story appeared, it was down to 20 cars. Folk decided to install a video camera in his upstairs window to record the traffic. He organized a neighborhood barbecue as a show of public unity set for 3 p.m. Saturday, September 23rd. He invited neighbors, friends, ranger buddies, and thought nothing more of it. The day of the barbecue, a group of Hilltop Crip gangbangers acknowledged Folk outside of his residence and gave him the gun finger. It came from a car full of Crips. Driving by his house, the index finger pointed, thumb up, a little flip of the hand, and the mouth.
Hey, when you do that, you know that you're pointing 3 fingers back at yourself there, Mr. Gangman. You know that you're just pointing more fingers at yourself? Yeah, think about that. I bet that'll show them.
The words, boom, boom.
They fucked with the wrong guy.
The gangsters saw the video camera on Folk's house, and a few hours later they returned and threw rocks at it. Someone else took shots at the house and the video camera with a BB gun. Folk and a few ranger buddies then walked across the street to confront the out-of-shape, chain-smoking gangbangers who think they're hard. Folk told them to stop throwing things at his home.
Who are those people? I've seen this. Why do I think that these are the Da Vinci guys? I know they're not, but they kind of remind me of them. Who the hell are these guys? They literally look like that one desk, that one table in the classroom that everyone wrote on. The Island Boys, I've never heard of them. Never heard of them. They just look like a desk that a bunch of kids scribbled on in high school. It looks really stupid. Never get a tattoo on the face.
Smoking gangbangers who think they're hard. Folk told them to stop throwing things at his home and the neighbors' homes, to stop shooting BBs, and to instead turn their lives around and find better ways. The gangbangers warned him to take the camera out of his window. The gangbangers suggested the staff sergeant didn't know who he was dealing with. The staff sergeant suggested the gangbangers didn't know who they were dealing with. They then told him, "Your history, bitch," and told him they were going to burn his house down and light him up as soon as the sun goes down. Folk decided to walk away, and before he returned to his home, he overheard one of the Crips stating, "I'm going to shoot that army son of a bitch." Folk
They gave him a warning. They told him when they were gonna do it. You'd never do that. You just do it. You always use the element of surprise, and you never do it immediately. You let them be paranoid. You never act immediately. You get them to be on edge. You don't attack the next day or the next day after that. You let them be paranoid for a while. And then after a little bit, then you attack. It's psychologic warfare first, then physical.
House, he picked up his telephone, called some more of his Ranger buddies from the 2nd Ranger Battalion, and invited them over for a barbecue, suggesting it wouldn't hurt if they came armed. Translation, bring your own bullets. Hey guys.
Bring your own bullets.
Okay, well, yeah, what are we gonna smoke? Just some Crips.
Wait, is he married? Wait, does he have any family with him?
Barbecue and the Rangers called. The total of Rangers grew to 15. Folk told them to bring personal weapons and whatever else they had. They came armed to the teeth with handguns, shotguns, and rifles. Folk was armed with a Browning 9mm and a Colt Python 357 Magnum. Fucking Magnum.
I love that.
Who's the gangster now, bitch? Over a couple
I love that one.
Pitched to his buddies a defensive operation of his home. Stake out locations and wait. No first moves. If police come, disarm immediately, cooperate, and assist. And all of his buddies joyfully agreed and were fucking down. They thought maybe nothing will happen, but if it does, zero tolerance for dudes shooting gats and smoking Swisher Sweets. As the sun went down, the Rangers dispersed into their defensive positions, alert and observant of any and all activity inside and outside the perimeter of the house. A few hours had passed as the Rangers held their positions. One Ranger observed a vehicle approaching in the distance at a slow rate of speed, at which point the vehicle shut off its headlights. Folk, with his Magnum in hand, returned the favor and turned out the lights in his house and in the yard. At 9:20 p.m., as the vehicle approached, someone within the vehicle fired a shot into the air. The house was now taking fire from the rear, where, according to police reports, small caliber automatic gunfire was heard. The Rangers opened a shit ton of fire, but so did the Hilltop Crips. One of the Rangers, William Edwards, was posted on the front porch. When the shooting started, he hit the ground as a bullet slammed into the wall beside him. He and other Rangers returned fire, seeing figures running amongst parked cars on the other side of the street. Ranger Russell Nolte, posted in the backyard, crawled forward as a shot hit the back of the house 3 feet over his head. Ranger Burr Settles was posted upstairs by the infamous controversial fucking video camera as a shot came through the window. The bullet grazed his head and he received multiple lacerations on his face from the shattered glass. Numerous muzzle flashes were now seen from the east. There were at least 16 shooters in 3 different locations. The Rangers again returned fire, while outside the assailants took cover amongst the parked cars, shooting over their shoulders, ducking down, shooting blindly. You know, stupid shit like that, like gangsters do.
Yeah, this isn't Call of Duty. It's Saints Row. You know, there's nothing GTA. You gotta aim. You can't just blind fire with a freaking pistol. There's so many places that bullet can go, and very few places where your target is. And also, you can't don't hold it sideways. It doesn't do anything. I think that actually hurts. Just aim down sights, look where you're pointing, and then fire, and don't close your eyes. Keep your eyes open. Eye on the birdie, baby. Eye on the birdie. That's why you always. But I bet they've never even been to a shooting range. Do you think they've ever even practiced shooting? I bet they just get a gun and then they just go, and if they want to shoot somebody or shoot something, they just shoot it. They've never even practiced. It's awful. Like, if you have a firearm, you need to know how to actually use it. Do you think they even clean them? I don't even know if they have to clean them.
At this time, a neighbor taking cover on her kitchen floor dialed 911. And just like the famous Wild West shootout at the OK Corral, it was over in minutes. 10 minutes, to be exact. The first police car came down the middle of the street, cherries and berries on, with his siren blaring. The Rangers dropped their weapons, but as that first patrol car arrived on scene, one of the Hilltop Crip gang members popped a round off, sending the patrol car reversing out of the scene so quickly, smoke was seen coming from the rear tires.
What?
Officers in the car reported hearing 50 to 60 shots in less than 1 minute. Shortly after, more cops pulled into the block.
Okay, never mind. That's fair. I was about to be like, dude, it's your job. But I mean, if you hear like that many shots, you need to get back up. I don't know what the protocol is, so maybe it's wrong from what he did, but like, it seems sensible. If there's that many you need to have backup, because you're just gonna die from that position. You're going into a war zone that you don't know where anyone is and everybody knows where you're coming from. You probably need some backup.
Bangers ran.
As the officer unit arrived in the area, subjects were seen fleeing. Those subjects were pursued and some caught and detained. Run them over! Fair, okay, you know, could do that.
The unarmed staff sergeant walked out the back door to his driveway and the alley behind his house. He felt someone behind and didn't fight. A hand shoved his head down and a voice ordered him to the ground. One gang member by the name of Frankie Strickland was cornered by a police canine and found to be in possession of 16 rounds of 9mm. He said he was holding them for a friend but couldn't remember the friend's name. You know, like a
oh yeah, totally.
He also said the same thing about the pistol he was carrying. It was for a friend. Another suspect was carrying copper-headed rounds for a gas gun. Once the situation was under control and the officers learned about the Rangers' defensive operation, the responding sergeant of the Tacoma Police Department wasn't too happy about it. He lectured Folk and the other Rangers for not calling the police for assistance until shots were fired.
On one hand, I get it. If this were like, this seems like you knew shit was gonna go down. You endangered yourselves, the lives of the people within the neighborhood, and your friends. For this, yes, but you did not acknowledge the friends, but you knew all this was going to happen. You didn't inform us. On the other hand, the cops seem to have not been doing jack shit the entire time. So, can you blame them for not calling the cops immediately? Or really at all? And just, you know, if you showed up, you showed up. So, like, you know, kind of torn. So, but I'm kind of on the Ranger side on this one. The cops weren't doing anything for years and actively making things worse, so I kind of get it. Welcome, Ferret.
And felt that the situation may have been avoided by calling 911 prior to the shooting getting started. Out of what was quite possibly a 35-man gunfight with over 300 rounds shot in the dark, no one was reported to be killed or injured. For 20 years, the official version of the shootout held that miraculously no one was hurt, but there were rumors injured gang members did not seek medical attention for obvious reasons, and some may have even been mortally wounded. And according to Folk himself, during the firefight, one gang member rushed towards Folk's house. I guess he thought he was gonna John Wayne it. Folk remembered. One of the Rangers took aim and hit the gangster in the shoulder. The attacker staggered back and ran away. The moment goes unmentioned in police reports and witness accounts of the time. Unverified gossip holds that the wounded man was treated at a Seattle area hospital, over an hour away from Tacoma. Doug Sutherland, who was mayor at the time, pondered a declaration of a citywide version of martial law to combat the gang violence that immediately drew national attention. The city of Tacoma found the dollars to add more police officers to their department. Then Governor Booth Gardner even considered sending in the National Guard to Ash Street. The Hilltop Crip gang member who was arrested and found in possession of the 9mm and the pistol, Frankie Strickland, was the only man charged in connection with the shootout. He was—
What? But it was for a friend. He said that though. What are you talking about? Dude, free my man. Dude, justice for whatever the fuck that guy's name was. It was for a friend, dude. Why would he lie about that? It was obviously for a friend. Come on. Come on. Yeah, come on. You could take him at his word.
Convicted of second-degree assault and was later sentenced to 22 months in prison. Bruh. The military officially considered the incident a matter of self-defense for the off-duty Rangers. On February 9th, 2010, Tacoma Police and FBI launched a major crackdown on the Hilltop Crip gang and charged 32 members with up to 50 crimes, everything from theft to attempted murder and drug sales. A few years back, a Tacoma police officer said something about the shootout. He said it was the single most important incident in Tacoma that caused a change in police policies and practices. Staff Sergeant William Folk never moved away from Ash Street, and as he predicted, he was never promoted and left the Army in 1993. He still owns the property to this day. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more of these historical crime breakdowns in the works, and you don't want to miss them. So be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Well, that was cool. That was cool. Thank you for recommending this, chat. Thank you. and YouTube. If you have any video recommendations, put them down in the comments down below. Maybe even come by the live stream or the Discord if you're at all interested. We're a fun bunch of people. And again, there it is. YouTube versus Twitch. Let's see, Wolf, you said the nice thing. You said the nice thing. But thank you for watching. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day over in YouTube. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.